Well, it's back-to-back days for the LSU Tigers on the recruiting front as they get big news once again, keeping an in-state talent home. Destrehan wide receiver, three-star Phillip Wright, announces his commitment to the LSU Tigers. Now, you might be saying, Phillip Wright, we've heard that name. Where does it come from? What's going on? Thought he was committed to Michigan. Well, the Destrehan standout decommitted from the Wolverines. All signs seem to point over the past week or so that LSU was his destination, and he made that announcement today. Welcome into the Go 24/7 Instant Reaction Commitment Podcast. My name is Bryce Koon over here on the Go 24/7 site with all things LSU on the 24/7 Sports Network. Glenn West and Sonny Ship, they've got a great breakdown over there on the site that you need to check out. But today, we're going to talk a little bit about what Wright brings to the table. Most importantly, who is Phillip Wright and why this is a big addition for the 2025 class. Well, let's start right here. You're keeping an in-state talent home. The three-star receiver rated as the 65th best receiver and the 18th best player in the state of Louisiana. That's per the 24/7 Sports ranking. When you get into the composite ranking, still sits as a three-star. He stands as the 430th best player in the country, 68th wide receiver, and the 12th best player in the state of Louisiana. 5'11", 175 pounds, and it's safe to say that Phillip Wright is a burner. He's a guy that can take the top off of a defense, can really give you limitless options in terms of the fade. Anything you want to do down the field, Phillip Wright is that guy. 5'11", 175, coming off a nice season as well. And you talk about that speed. This is a guy that as early as this past March, as recent as this past March, I should say, ran the 100 meters in 10.46 seconds, the 200 meters in track in 21.41, and then the 400 meters in 49.38. Gabe Brooks of 24/7 Sports, the national scouting analyst, back in July, had this to say about Wright. He's a big play receiver who can stretch the field vertically or hit the long ball as a short game catch and run threat, capable of aligning at multiple receiver spots, and represents the type of speed-oriented weapon who can allow a coaching staff ample creativity. Verified between 5'10 and 5'11 in January 2024 at the All-American National Combine, he posted encouraging testing data with a 4.52 40 and a 10-foot 1-inch broad jump. Perhaps a bit more to the frame than suspected on tape, certifiable burner with elite track numbers in multiple sprint categories, including a 10.46 100 and a 21.41 200. He uses that speed to get on top of DBs quickly and take the top off a secondary. Dynamic run after the catch threat in the screen and quick games, capable of stacking cuts in the open field. Adding a bit of mass and strength should go to help that cause in terms of separation. Possibly could squeeze just a tad more out of the top end of that track speed when in pads. He could supply an early special teams option as a return threat and a dangerous receiving weapon who could move around the formation. Projects as a high major prospect with multi-sport evidence and verified athleticism that could lead beyond the college game. We talked about those track numbers. As a junior, he won the Louisiana 5A regional championships in the 100 meters and the 200 meters. He ran a season-best 100-meter time of 10.46 and also notched a 49.38 400 as a junior. This is a guy who is a legit track star. At the New Balance Indoor Nationals, he ran a sophomore time of 10.62 in the 100-meter and a 10.75. He also had a 200-meter reps of 21.61 and 21.65 in spring of 2023. This past year, I guess we should say that last year in 2023, he helped Destrehan to an 11-1 record and a Louisiana Division I non-select state quarterfinal appearance as a junior. Back in 2022, Destrehan was all the way to the state championship, went 15-0, and he primarily played receiver and returner on that team. Now, if you notice the name and you notice the team, yes, he's teammates, obviously, with another LSU commit, Jace Thomas, on the back end of that secondary for Destrehan, and going to play probably safety at LSU as well. Those two get to face off in practice, and they're going to try to continue that in the purple gold up in Baton Rouge. So this is a big-time pickup. This is a kid, and I'm going to get into this here. Phillip Wright was courted by LSU early on. Other schools jumped in. Georgia Tech jumped in. Ricky Brumfield over there in Atlanta with deep ties to New Orleans and deep ties to Destrehan jumped in. Michigan jumped into this recruitment. Georgia was involved a little bit. He ended up choosing Michigan. LSU and Cortez Hankton turned up the heat, and now you see Phillip Wright join this class, deciding he wants to stay a little bit closer to home And like we said, the 12th best player in the state of Louisiana per the 24/7 Sports Composite rankings. LSU trying to continue to keep that number up and see what they can continue to do in 2025 class. But Wright is a riser. He is an athlete. And we're going to take a look at the tape right here. And I'm going to show you why I think that this kid is going to be not just a problem at the just a problem in general with what he's able to bring to the table. You take a look right here, the speed down the middle of the field, perfect ball, and he's the kind of guy that just runs under those passes and takes it to the end zone. And we talk about the screen game. They line him up in different formations. They're going to bring him, and you see the top end speed. He destroys angles on his way to score. You want a jet touch pass? Well, this is what Phillip Wright can do for you. Jet touch pass, you get him off to the right side, great blocking, and like we said, destroys angles that really just kind of don't exist. And then just, overall, when you see this guy work, a knack for football, understands the game. You see right there picking up a fumble as well. But this is a guy that I think is going to be a weapon in the intermediate to long game, and then a absolute threat in the screen pass. Joe Sloan should have a field day with Phillip Wright when it comes to the screen pass. I mean, this is a young man who I think is very exciting to watch. He's electric. He's shifty. I would say this is one of the more underrated receivers, and the fact that LSU, might have missed out on some more higher profile targets. Phillip Wright, I think, gives you everything you want. And when look, fans of LSU and fans here in Louisiana, when they say, hey, we'd rather have one of our own, I think Phillip Wright is the exact definition of a guy that might be a little bit undervalued, a little underrated, but once he suits up for the hometown team, once he suits up for the in-state program, he's going to make an impact. And I think Joe Sloan could have a field day with what he could do with Phillip Wright. So that's a quick look at some of the tape, what he brings to the table. You can see he's dynamic. He's an athletic playmaker. That track speed is real. And just one more. You got to look right here again at this jet touch pass, another one, destroying angles and just able to get up the field and get vertical fairly quickly. But that's a look at the tape. This is another big pickup. I mean, this is another one that you kind of look at and you say, all right, Bryce, what are we doing here? This is commit number 21. This is another addition to the wide receiver room. Now you have Derek Meadows. You've got Manchild Francis in there. And now you have your third receiver, obviously, with Phillip Wright. So you're starting to see that wide receiver class start to fill out. Could they look to add another? Maybe they do. We've talked about, other options as well. But let's take a look at maybe what's next. And I'm going to throw two names out here. I talked about one of these yesterday after the commitment of CJ Jim Coley. What's next? Jonah Williams still very much in play here. Walter Mathis still very much in play. I want to talk about tight end Mike Tyler. This is a guy that, yes, they've already got J.D. LaFleur, the legacy, the in-state product out of Sulphur, Louisiana. But this is a guy right here that I think that you could really see in Mike Tyler join the fray, give another offensive weapon. If LSU decides that they're good in the wide receiver room, maybe they add one more. But, man, Phillip Wright, I'm excited about him. I'm excited to see what he brings to the table in terms of just LSU in general, repping the purple and gold. And I'll tell you this, stay tuned to the channel because we're going to be doing some content with Phillip Wright, and we're going to get down and we're going to go see Destrahan play, and we'll have some great film, some great interviews with those guys as well. So this is the Go 24/7 Instant Reaction Commitment Podcast. Phillip Wright commits to LSU, flips from Michigan, you could call it that, but the Tigers keep a good one home, and it's a lot of fun for LSU fans on the recruiting trail right now. My name is Bryce Koon. This is the Go 24/7 Instant Reaction Commitment Podcast. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and we'll be talking to you soon here on the Go 24/7 YouTube channel.